So still on the case of artificial intelligence, in the previous video we saw the new Sora by OpenAI. In this one we're going to be checking out Pentagon wants to weaponize artificial intelligence. Now this to a lot of us is no surprise because people are trying to get on top of this, and it's not just the Pentagon, different nations. There's been speculations that the Kremlin is trying to weaponize artificial intelligence. China has been accused of the same thing. But in this one particularly, we want to see what the Pentagon is doing with artificial intelligence. Let's get to it.
Artificial intelligence is like a Hollywood spy. During the day, he's all cuddly, the perfect spouse, the caring parent, and seemingly boring. But by night, we see a different face, a lethal and ruthless avatar. AI too has such a face. It's not just a funny and informative chatbot. It can also be a killer machine, and looks like the Pentagon wants to meet this alter ego, maybe even recruit it. Now, the Pentagon already has an AI department. On Tuesday, they organized a symposium in Washington. The topic was AI and military, specifically large language models, or LLMs, large language models. ChatGPT, for example, is an LLM. You can type in a question and the LLM will respond. It could be useful for spy agencies. They have access to a lot of information. Some of it is in public domain. Some of it is painstakingly gathered. You could say there is a data overload for them. So today's challenge is not gathering or collecting data. Today's challenge is analyzing it. How do you join the dots?
Analyze.
How do you figure out patterns?
And decision making. That's where it's going to come into play, because it can analyze data faster and tell you what to do next. So analysis and decision making. Yeah, data scientists and data analysts, your job is gone.
Today's challenge is analyzing it. How do you join the dots? How do you figure out patterns? Humans may take a long time to decode such puzzles. AI will not. It can comb through data in the blink of an eye, which is why security agencies are looking at language models. But the uses do not end there. LLMs can also be used for other military purposes like wargaming, or training officers, or even real-time decision-making. The Pentagon is exploring all of this. They have roped in a company called Scale AI. Its job is to test out large language models, or LLMs, in military operations to see how good they are. You can understand why they're doing it. Bots are a lot faster. They can crunch more data and hence take more informed decisions. They can also cut short human labor. Think of surveillance or reconnaissance. Earlier, human pilots or soldiers would do it. They would enter or loiter in enemy territory.
You know what this does? Even though AI can make more logical decisions, it takes away the human factor. It's like if you had a gun, and maybe there's a kid with a gun, and the kid is trying to shoot you. Maybe there's something else as a human being you could do to avoid this kid shooting you. You know, maybe you can go sideways and hit the kid and take the gun. I mean, not like really hitting the kid, but, you know, push the kid to take the gun so you don't kill the kid. If it's AI making that decision, it's like target acquired, fire. It doesn't matter if it's a baby or something. The kid has a weapon, fire. So it takes away the human factor in the decision making. So this is...
But bots can reduce the risk factor. You can leave such dangerous jobs to them. So on paper, AI can help. But here's the problem. Artificial intelligence is not perfect. Some language models are prone to hallucination, meaning they make stuff up.
Right. That's very true.
I'll give you an example. Do you remember the Chinese spy balloon over America last year? The US eventually shot it down, and researchers asked AI about that incident. Look at the model's response. I'm quoting. The Chinese were not able to determine the cause of the failure. I'm sure they'll get it right next time. That's what they say about the first test of the A-bomb. They're Chinese. They'll get it right next time. Now, the first problem here is obvious, a bias about China. This AI model believes that China eventually gets things right. Such a bias can affect decision making.
Right.
Also, the facts are inaccurate. China does know what happened to their balloon. They criticize Washington for shooting it down. So that's a big problem, hallucination. The second problem is cyber security risk. All language models eat data for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and military ones will need sensitive data. But what if someone hacks it? or
Sure.
games it to leak the training data. Some hackers did that with ChatGPT. They got it to leak its training data. What if the same happens to a military AI? Troves of sensitive information could be at risk here. But the biggest problem is not any of this. In fact, it's not hallucinations or data leak. It's the real world impact. There are no rules around bots on the battlefield. You can't say it's illegal. But modern warfare is rooted in international law. Most importantly, the IHL, the International Humanitarian Law. It has three major principles or foundations. Number one, making a distinction between civilians and combatants. Number two, proportionality, making sure that the military response is justified and limited. And number three, precaution, trying to limit casualties from the onslaught. Now the question is, can AI follow these rules? Most
No.
experts say it cannot.
No.
You see, machines and
The human factor I was talking about.
computers are calculated. They operate without emotions. They do not
Right.
understand responsibility or accountability. Maybe for them, missions outweigh civilian lives. Now you know what you're thinking. Are humans any different? We've seen presidents and prime ministers carpet bomb countries. Do they value civilians or human life? No, they don't. But in that case, you know who to blame. You know who's responsible. But with artificial intelligence, it's different. Who do you blame for such mistakes? The army chief, the company that made the AI model, or the president who gave the approval? Do you see the problem here? AI in the battlefield is a legal and moral gray area, but it's also powerful enough to be a game changer, which is why every country is racing for it. In 2017, China made a major announcement. Beijing said it wants to become the world's AI leader by 2030. But sanctions have hurt them. Experts say Chinese AI models are behind the American ones. By how much? Around 18 to 24 months. So it looks like the US still has the edge. It's a way.
You see, one thing with China, America could feel like the US has the edge, but China they do, but they're doing something on the ground. Then next year it's like they come out with a very incredible technology that every other country is like 25 years behind. You see, you can take all these things you see on the media and assume that that's what is actually happening in these nations. These guys are not stupid. They know what they're doing.
Wake-up call for other countries too. Warfare is changing before our eyes. It's not just about the army's size anymore. It's also about how smart it is. So countries like India need to work on their own sovereign AI models.
If you're talking about India, how are you going to say about countries like my country, Nigeria, African countries? What are we doing about this? We're still struggling with building infrastructure. What are we doing about this? Other countries are building AI models. It's crazy. But the question is, why are we so invested in war? Why are we so invested in war like this? Like, it's crazy what is going on in the world. Everybody's building a warfare, nuclear weapons, AI for security, for safety. What don't we have other options? Can we at least look into other options? Yeah, the speculations and the tension from people saying World War III is coming. The tension already is a lot. It's a lot. Last time we were seeing a video from, I think, Israel or Gaza, where they were speaking about Yemen and the Houthis and other people waiting to get involved. They are presenting the case to the international court. I think that's what it's called. And if they don't do anything, it's more likely that these people will take laws into their own hands. So imagine when they do. Last time we saw a video by Bishop Mary Emmanuel. He said, if you strike Israel, if any country strikes Israel, that's going to be the start of World War III. Speculations, tension everywhere, and we're still talking about AI weaponization. It's crazy what is going on in the world right now.
To work on their own sovereign AI models, models that can crunch India's data, models that can calculate India's strategic interests. And this is a race you cannot fall behind in, because once you do, it takes ages to level the playing field. And that's one of the many topics we'll be discussing at the first Post-Defense Summit. How will technology and AI shape warfare? How can India secure its borders and seas? And how do we navigate this era of multiple conflicts? We'll be speaking to India's top defense officials, discussing India's military ambitions and hearing...
Okay, I guess we can stop the video there. All these investments into warfare, People just need to eat, you know. People just need a place to live. People are complaining about house rents, and I learned in Canada people are borrowing money now to buy food. Like people are taking loans to buy food, but then there's so much investment going into warfare and all of those things. This shouldn't, in an ideal world, this shouldn't be the priority. People should be able to survive and be happy first and have a home first before this is even something to speak about. But I guess it is now. Anyways, let me know what you think about that. If there's anything you want to add, correct, critique, share your comments, whatever, feel free to talk to us in the comment section. That being said, it's the end of this one. Smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.